theswirlworld.com. Podcast episode
150.
The Swirl World.
Interracial.
Diverse.
Beautiful.
Greetings and welcome to another edition of the Swirl World podcast. This is your co-host, Michelle Matthews-Calloway. So I have a question for you. Which of these two camps do you fall into? When it comes to home decorating, are you the type that finds the decor you like, furniture, colors, etc., and you stick with it for a good little while? Or are you like my best friend Jacqueline, who likes to change out pillows and furniture, move it around? She loves variety in her scene, and so she's not opposed to changing things up when she wants things to look different. I fall into the former camp. I tend to get a look that I like, and then I keep it. Oh, I may change the color of some pillows or get a throw in the fall to kind of warm things up and maybe lighten things up in the spring. But as far as the position of the furniture, I'm pretty much going to keep it that way for the long haul. However, there does come a time when all of a sudden I get inspired and I know it's time to change things up, to really move things around, throw out the old, bring in the new, and start all over again. Kind of like what we're doing with this podcast. Yes, we're still going to interview interracial couples and Black women who are interested in expanding their dating and marriage options by not limiting themselves to only one particular ethnic group. We'll still talk about that. But we're shaking things up. We're moving things around. And one of the things we're doing is expanding the outreach we have through our sister platform, Black Women Are Beautiful, Powerful, Everything. I talked about this in the last podcast, episode 149. We're pivoting. We're making some shifts. We're bringing in some new furniture. We're changing things up a little bit. That's what's happening with the Swirl World podcast. We're going to be interviewing Black women who are change agents in their communities, whether that's their church community, neighborhood community, collegiate community, wherever Black women are, we know they're shaking things up and they're making things happen. We want to focus on those women. And if you're one of those women, feel free to send me an email at beautifulpowerfuleverything@gmail.com. I want to know more about you, and I know our audience does too. In this particular episode, I'm having a discussion with Angela Gatlin Keys, author of the newly released book, A Woman's Wit. Now, this podcast was recorded a couple of weeks ago, and Angela's book has already launched, so head on over to Amazon and check it out. In the meantime, listen to our discussion and learn more about Angela's journey and how she's shaking things up with a woman's wit. Keep listening. So today's guest is Angela Gatlin Keys. She's an author, she's a speaker, she's a writer. She also is a thought leader. And I'm especially grateful and proud to have her on the podcast today. Hey, Angela, how are you?
Hi, Michelle. I'm well. How are you?
Doing well. Good to see your beautiful face, your powerful face, the face that is everything.
Okay, you're too kind. Thank you so much for having me here. I like what you said about thought leader. Never heard that term before, but I really like that. That struck me.
Yes. And, we're going to get into, near the end of the show, we're going to get into having you share all of your social media platforms. But I say thought leader because I see your graphics that you post. I see some of the pieces that you post, and they're thought-provoking and really life-changing. If people pay attention to what's being said, I look forward to seeing them on Instagram and Facebook, and they always make me ponder. They make me pause because I want to take them in, and then they make me think because I focus on what you share in that graphic or in that post. And then I also share that in conversations with others. You don't know it, but I have told quite a few people about you.
Wow.
So much so that they think they know you. So
I'm excited and humbled.
yes. So yes, you are definitely a thought leader. And before we get into the book, I want you just to tell our audience just a tiny little bit about yourself. I know there's a lot, but just tell them a little bit about yourself before we chat.
Well, like you, I'm just a country girl from Louisiana, you know, born and raised in the country, grew up playing softball and riding bikes and riding my brother's horse when he would let me, and, you know, hopscotch, nothing special, wonderful family, you know, my parents and my siblings, and went to college in South Louisiana and they kept me.
Did you go to Grambling or Southern, or where exactly did you go? Or did you go to UL?
I went to Southern for one semester and then I transferred to UL.
Okay. Okay. And by UL, we mean University of Louisiana, which at that time I think was University of Southwestern Louisiana, maybe USL,
right,
as we affectionately call it.
right,
but the name's been changed to UL. Okay. Okay.
right. And, you know, stayed there. My husband was from New Orleans, and so we eventually landed in New Orleans, and that's where we were raising our family. Decided to go back to law school late, and started law school with 2 children and graduated with 3. And, you know, then Hurricane Katrina blew us to Shreveport. And we stayed there for a while, and before we relocated, and I landed in Texas in 2014, I believe.
Wow.
Can't believe I've been here that long.
It's amazing the paths, the different paths and trails that life takes us on, that oftentimes we don't expect. We make our plans, but then God has other plans for us, or sometimes life just has its way in certain aspects. I say that because I'm thinking about Katrina, how so many people were displaced by that hurricane, and it changed a lot of lives. And to think that you were in law school with 2 children and then a third, which means they probably were small children. We're not talking about, you know, teenagers who can cook and feed themselves. And
no, they were elementary, and that last one, that's the law school baby. So we, you know, at one point, everybody in the household was in school. So
wow.
I picked them up from school, and we'd all go to the library. So they did their homework and I did mine. But, you know, we had to go.
Yeah, yeah.
And, you know, we put our heads down and nothing to it but to do it. Like
right. Yeah.
Like
just did the work.
Just did the work.
Yeah.
Right.
And, you know, to me, that also speaks to the resiliency of Black women. When we want to do something, I can't think of any force of nature that can stop us. You know, we make it happen. We make it work. So kudos to you for that great accomplishment.
Well, thank you. It takes a village. I had help, but you know, as you say, Black women are resilient, and we, you know, our attitude has always been we have to do what we have to do, because sometimes if we don't do it, it doesn't get done.
Right. That's right.
So we have to make it work with 2 nickels and a dime or whatever it is. We have to make it work. And, you know, that's one of the things that I love about us, because my mama always said there's more than one way to skin a cat. And so we learned a lot of ways to skin that cat. We did what we needed to do.
They can talk about a cat having 9 lives, but it has more skin.
Right.
Its skin,
an unlimited amount of ways. But yes, that's right. Just Black women's creativity and resolve and resiliency and fortitude, all of those characteristics I see exemplified in us, even during times of trauma. Like, you think about Katrina, where people had to move quickly and think on their feet, think as they were packing and moving, and
Right.
or looking at in a sense, the ruins for some people of their lives, and to pick up the pieces and move on and still thrive despite all of that.
Right. Right. Still hold it together. I thought about the name of your podcast, Black Women Are Beautiful, Powerful, Everything, and we really, and not to discredit anyone else,
Right.
but
Right.
we really are the backbone, the thread, the glue, the foundation
Mm-hmm.
of not families. We are the foundation in churches. We are the
Yes.
foundation of communities. We are the foundation of continents.
Right.
And, I think about, our ancestors when they were raising the children of the slave masters, and while their own children were being snatched or sold away. And, that makes you strong. It will either break you or make you strong. And like you said, we are resilient. It gave us a strength that's often misunderstood.
Mm-hmm.
But that strength was a way to maintain our sanity. And it has carried us down through the generations. And we still maintain that because, thank God, a lot of that is not happening. But we know with the climate that there is today, there are other things that are happening.
So true.
But
So
I'm
true.
so glad it finally seems as if we are getting the recognition that we deserve for our tenacity, our gift of holding things together and
Mm-hmm.
being able to bring about change. And that's what we do. That's what
right.
we do.
That's right. I think about that quote that says, I'm paraphrasing, but it talks about don't curse the darkness, light a candle. And we've lit many a candle and continue to light it, not cursing the darkness, but where can I bring light? Where can I make a difference? Where can I help? And not only make a difference in my life, but in the life of someone else. That really marks, it's like a trademark of who we are as Black women.
I agree.
So now you, in addition to being an attorney, at some point, because I started seeing you on social media, you decided to get into blogging. And I'm sure being in law school, you had to be a writer because you have to write briefs and all those kinds of things. But to take it beyond the law, so to speak, and to reach people where they live, what inspired you to do that? Tell us a little bit about that particular journey in your life.
Well, I've always loved to write. Like you say, I grew up reading. And, my sisters and I grew up reading. We'd have contests and things. And if you read, you can write.
Yes.
Because you develop, you see the patterns and you see how to put things together, put thoughts together and create a story, something that's interesting. And so I've always loved writing. And when I think my daughter put me on Facebook. I didn't know what it was. She said, well, try it. And, it was pretty cool. I was able to reconnect with old friends. That was my purpose. But then I would write things in I just always wrote. I had thoughts and I would write them down on little pieces of paper. I had them like everywhere, but I never did anything with them. But people would say, oh, you wrote that helped me. And I'd be like, okay, well, thank you. It wasn't designed to do something to people. It was just a way of me expressing myself. But as people began to relate to me how it impacted them and how it encouraged them or motivated or inspired them, and I said, well, maybe this is something, God, And I think, as a matter of today, I got a Facebook memory where I posted my first blog today, 2013. Can you believe it?
Really?
My very first one. I've welcomed everybody. Go like my page at Woman's Wit. My first blog is about the browning of America. And I said, can you believe that?
And it's not coincidental. It's not, because I don't think I know I didn't know that, and I don't think you were thinking about that being your blog anniversary.
Right.
And I have to say, I mentioned earlier about you being my spiritual sister. I think it's important to also let the audience know that you are a very strong woman of faith, that you love God, and Jesus is Lord in your life, and we're not ashamed to say that. He's Lord in my life as well. And just I say that to say that's not a coincidence. And you having this podcast today, it's not coincidental. It's not coincidental.
Not happenstance. It was preordained. And when I saw that, I got chills, because that's just how he does it.
Yeah.
We can't even plan it. We can't even dream of it the way he has it already designed.
So it was 7 years ago. Does it seem like it's been 7 years?
No, not really. It's just amazing how I've gone from that being my first blog to putting out my first book. Mm-hmm. And you talked about crossroads, and that's really, the paths that we take in life. And that's really how my book came about. I wasn't planning to write a book, but it's really just a compilation of all of the things that I had written. And it just tells the story and how I got to different crossroads in my life and how I handled them. And it just formed itself into a book. And I had it for a while. I just didn't know it was a book.
Now, your book is called A Woman's Wit. Am I correct about that? And so where did that come from? Because that was one of the things that struck me. You would always sign your posts or your graphics, and you'd have a woman's wit. And I thought about that, like we were talking about the resiliency and fortitude of women, and that wit, that knowledge, and tell us about that. Where did that come from? Just even the title itself and what that means to you as the author.
Well, I'd always been told that I have a dry wit, and I'm not warm and fuzzy. I want to be. I try to be, but I just have a dry. And I love people, but like my mom was she was like this.
Yes.
And I was more standoffish, but they said, but you've got a dry wit that you can kind of jab people. And I guess that was good for law school, because I had to often jab people.
Right.
But it was just the fact that I'm an overthinker. And so all of my thoughts, I said, well, what can I call it? And, I said, well, maybe, because everything I wrote about was really common sense stuff to me. It wasn't, politics. It wasn't devoted to one particular thing. It was just about life. And you need to have your wits about you to navigate through life. Otherwise, you'll just be all over the place. And I knew that as a woman, I wasn't speaking as a woman, but I am a woman, and I cannot forget that. It's not a woman's perspective, but it's just a perspective from someone who happens to be a woman. And I always make that distinction, because men always think, oh, it's not for me. It's a woman's wit. It's not for me, but it's for everyone. Mm-hmm. And so that's how I came up with the woman's wit.
Love that. Love it. And you're right. I think when those men who might initially think that, when they read what the graphic says or what the post says, they see where it applies to them as well, or that they can take something from what's being said or what's being expressed and apply it to their own life, or can help them in a relationship or whatever, depending on what the witticism concerns.
Right, right.
So now, you mentioned about telling the story. So a woman's wit, is it an autobiography? What's the structure? How is the book laid out?
It's not an autobiography. It's not a memoir, but it's just my thoughts and feelings. I do relate some events, from childhood to adulthood, but it's more of, when you're dealing with certain things in life, what my thought process was, because I learned that I was not the only person who thought like that. Many of my sisters and brothers think like that, but we have a tendency to believe that we are the only ones who think like that. And since we're not transparent, we often struggle for years alone because we don't think anyone will understand, or we think we'll be judged, or, they won't be able to relate. And so it was just a way to express different times in my life and my thought process and how I got through it, either badly or, doing it the right way by trusting God, because, there have been times when my faith has been weak and myself has been promoted. Mm-hmm. Of course, those are the times that didn't work out so right. And, people, I think people are helped more when you're transparent because they can relate.
Yeah.
A lot of times we see people and, oh, she wouldn't understand. She's got it all together, or, he's doing big things. But everybody's got issues. We are all unique, but we are not that different.
Right. That's a great point. That's a great point. And sometimes people look at people and think certain things. I can remember someone thinking, oh, well, you don't have a care in the world. You don't have a problem in the world. And I was like, what? What? And it's so it's wonderful you're sharing that and you're putting it out there where people can read and identify and hopefully see themselves there and learn. And it takes courage to even put the mistakes in there. I think that's a wonderful thing to do that as well. To show where I didn't get it right that time, or I didn't dot my I or cross my T.
But I'm human and I mess up and I'm still here and I'm still lovable. God still loves me and he still has a plan. And, we just got to keep on pushing. Yeah.
And I think especially now in this present climate with everything that's happening, one of the things that people are in dire need of is hope.
Yes.
And inspiration to know that this too shall pass. This is not the end. There's a brighter day ahead.
Yes.
Our lives are yet in front of us. So it's wonderful to know that that's something that they can gain from a woman's wit. I'm so excited when I saw your post about that it was available for a pre-order.
Yes.
I went. I left the tab there on Facebook and immediately went to Amazon because I'm like, and I have. We talked about reading. I have tons of Kindles and Kindle, the app, on every device that I own, and I won't tell you how many Kindles I have. I'm not gonna say that, but yeah. And I'm like, oh, let me get this. Let me pre-order. So tell our audience how they can do like I did and go out there and pre-order A Woman's Wit.
Well, I am on Amazon.com. That still gives me chills to say that. So the the ebook is available for pre-order right now until July 30th. And on July 30th, Amazon will, when you pre-order, Amazon will automatically send that to your Kindle or whatever electronic device you choose. It will automatically send that to you electronically. And on the 30th, the paperback will be available to order on the 30th.
Oh, there's a paperback as well.
Paperback as well. They only let you do the ebook with the pre-order. I don't know why, but that's the way it's set up, because I'm a book person. I like to hold them in my hands. So if you want the book, it will be available to order on July 30th, and then of course it will be mailed to you after you put in your information and all of that stuff. So
okay, so if they go to Amazon.com and just type in your name, Angela Gatlin Keys, or type in A Woman's Wit, they'll be able to.
Wit Crossroads. Crossroads is the undertitle. A Woman's Wit Crossroads, or it's my name, Angela Gatlin Keys. Or I'm not sure where this will be posted. I can send you a link that will take them directly to it. We can do that.
Okay, great. Yes.
And I'm on Facebook and everything, and it's posted all over there. I know people are getting tired of me. So
no, we're not. No, we're not.
Posted everywhere: Facebook, Instagram, womanswit.com, everywhere.
There's a very successful entrepreneur who's on Facebook, and one of the things that she says is that if you think you're promoting yourself too much, you're not promoting yourself enough.
Really?
And she gave the example. I don't know if you've signed up for any emails from, say, like Dillard's or Macy's or Bath and Body Works.
I get tired of them.
They send you sometimes 2 or 3 emails a day.
That's true.
You know, if you really go back and look, if you just put Dillard's or Macy's in the search bar, you will see they email you most of them more than once a day. And she was saying they're not ashamed. They want you to know what they have. They want you to know you can get, whatever it is, watch, perfume, clothes, you can get that from us. And so when we have something that we're bringing that people need, because you are meeting a need in people's lives, and you're serving your community, then you can't talk about it too much. So if you think you're doing it too much, that means you're not doing it enough.
You're doing it enough. Duly noted. I will take care of that this evening.
Yes. So you have a Facebook page.
All spread out.
Oh yeah. I mean, and then another thing, researchers have noted that people need to see something at least 7 or 8 times before it even registers that they've seen it. So you put a post and you think, okay, I put it out there. People, no, you put it at morning, noon, and night, and do it the next day, and then do it mid-morning and midday and midnight, and because people are online all different times of the day and night as well. So no, you can't tell us too many times about this book. We need it. We need it.
I'm going to tell you some more for sure. Thanks. And I'm going to blame you.
Yes. I'll own it. I'll own it. Because I really want to put the word out, and I want people to be aware of this, and really want them, because I know they're going to be blessed. I know they're going to be blessed by it. So, okay, they can go to Amazon. You said you have a Facebook page, and the Facebook page is A Woman's Wit.
It's A Woman's Wit also. Instagram is A Woman's Wit also. So I was fortunate. A Woman's Wit, my website is awomanswit.com. Got to put the book on awomanswit.com, but
great.
Any of those places you can find it.
Okay.
Or at least find the link that will lead you to Amazon.com.
Wonderful. Well, all right. I'm so excited. So June 30th, we can pre-order now. And
did I say June? Because I have been.
I probably said June.
I said June when I made my announcement. So, this year's going, well, I would say it's going fast, but I don't know what it's doing. But
hey, it's funny because I saw, this is back in March. One of my friends had posted and she said something about, for those of you who don't know, today is March 97th. So
Yeah, I've had days like that.
So it's kind of like me saying June.
Yes.
It's July, people. July 30th.
July 30th, yes.
July 30th. Well, all right. So I am want to thank you so much for coming on today, and we definitely want to have you back to talk about your experience as a published author, and I think that would be a great show to talk about that. Just to have you come back and talk about the process, because I know there are others out there who may feel they have a book inside of them and don't know how to go about it, or maybe they're doing like you did and they're writing, things down on pieces of paper, and it's something that can give birth to an actual physical book that people can hold and read and bring into their library.
There were people who helped me because I didn't know what to do. I didn't know what to do. I said, okay, I got this manuscript. Okay, what do I do? So they were, I had a phenomenal editor with Reverend Sherry Jackson, and my formatter, Karen Simmons. And so they were the ones who helped me pull it all together. So there are people who can help you, and any questions. I'm not an expert. I'm still learning about, the trade, but whatever I know, I'm more than happy to share. And we can grow this, each one reach one, each one teach one. That's I firmly believe that. We don't know what we know for ourselves. We know it for somebody else.
That's right. That's right. Thank you so much for reminding us about that. All of us have something to share and something to offer. So I want to thank you again.
Thank you so much for having me. It's been a pleasure.
All right, we are going this by the time you hear this episode, you will be able to go to Amazon and click that link and purchase either the ebook or the hard copy. And when I say hard copy, I mean the physical book, paperback book in your to be delivered. So we want to thank Angela again, and I want to let every Black woman out there know and always remember, you are beautiful, you are powerful, you are everything.
Yes, yes. Thank you, Michelle.
Thank you, Angela.
Thanks for listening. We'll be back with another exciting interview with a Black woman who is making things happen in her community. Stay tuned for the next episode. In the meantime, if nobody's told you, I'm telling you. Black woman, you are beautiful, you are powerful, and you are everything.
The Swirl World.
Interracial.
Diverse.
Beautiful.